Hello and welcome to Mock the Week. I'm Dara. Joining me this week are Andy Parsons, Laverne and Russell Howard, Frankie Boyle, Hugh Dennis and Michael McIntyre. We start with a round called If This Is the Answer, What is the Question? On the board are 6 categories. Lauren, which category would you like?
Politics, please.
OK, politics is the category. The answer is 1. What is the question?
Is it how many chancellors does it take to put the shits up an economy?
Is it what grade of haircut can Andy Parsons only dream of?
Is it I've got it, I know what it is. Is it what's God's PIN number?
Is it, let's be honest, when does life start to go downhill?
Is it what does the...
Wow.
Very depressing!
Yeah. I've got a lovely idea of your first words. What are you going to say, Frankie? Bleak.
Is it what might a one-legged man repeat to himself over and over again while marching?
Is it how many times did Charles and Di have sex?
Is it, in what year did Jesus have a holiday booked that he never got to go on?
Is it what does the average viewer of Jeremy Kyle think the alphabet begins with?
It's not any of these, is it?
It's not any of those, no. We know this works, it's not any of these.
In what year did John McCain first run for president?
What is the most popular boy's name in Spain?
Very good. It's to do with the Republican Party.
Is it the average number of dead bears per room in Sarah Palin's house?
It's very good. It is about Sarah Palin.
Is it how many times did John McCain meet Sarah Palin before he offered her the...
That's absolutely right. Well done, Hugh Dennis. Congratulations. Yes, the question I was looking for was on how many occasions had presidential candidate John McCain met Sarah Palin before choosing her as his running mate. The relatively unknown governor of Alaska was a surprise choice as a Republican deputy in the US election where, despite her inexperience, she hopes to become the country's first female vice president.
She's definitely going to be president, isn't she?
Yeah, it's...
Because he's 72... He's the first president ever who could be assassinated by someone busting a paper bag.
Do you think, well, if he does get assassinated by the paper bag, that in years to come there'll be a film about it and you'll just see on a grassy knoll just various people...
Governor of Alaska is the all-time big drop-off in a title, isn't it? Governor, really important and great. Alaska. It's like you've been voted the most handsome man in the Burns unit.
Although...
You're an international footballer for Scotland.
Governor of Alaska is the equivalent, isn't it, of being mayor of the Shetland Isles.
It is, yeah.
She's a complete redneck, isn't she?
Yeah.
It'll be like Gordon Brown picking as his deputy prime minister the lead singer of the Wurzels.
That'd be a bloody good idea.
But does the lead singer of the Wurzels have a bear skin with bear head stuffed in her office?
She's a really mixed-up lady, though, because one of the reasons that she's been appointed is that she is pro-life, but obviously not for bears.
But she's a creationist, so she believes that God made the world in 7 days, and yet she's also a keen hunter. She seems odd like, cheers, God, thanks for all the animals.
Basically, isn't she? She's the female version of Rambo. So you're wondering if whether John McCain is thinking of going back into Vietnam.
There's an irony here, isn't there, that John McCain spends 5 years in a Vietnamese prison and he's running for president, whereas Gary Glitter, on the other hand...
Do you not think...
You think that over time we will begin to respect Gary Glitter?
Did you see the press conference where he introduced her? It couldn't have been more awkward and horrible. It looked like Joseph Fritzl and his daughter doing an infomercial for a basement conversion company.
How is she being tested this week?
Her daughter's pregnant, and she said that she is... I think she's like 17 or something, and she said, oh, yeah, but it's OK, because she's going to marry the father, as if that doesn't just make it worse.
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah, imagine if we were all married to the people we'd gone out with when we were 17. Like, how shit would your life be?
But she's also...
Somewhere, by the way, in the country, there is a couple there of childhood sweethearts.
That's dreamy. I mean, my
sitting
mum and
beside
dad,
each other going, I've been with you for 15 years now. Oh, Lauren was right. I could be with Lauren Laverne now.
The thing about being a creationist, right, is that actually being a creationist is the logical position, isn't it? If you're going to believe in a crazy, made-up religion, you might as well just go the whole hog and get right into it, right? Richard Dawkins, right, he's a very nice guy, but he doesn't understand the suspension of disbelief that's part of religion. You wouldn't want Richard Dawkins reading the Narnia books to your children, would you? Peter, who doesn't exist, and Lucy, who doesn't exist. Edmund and Susan, who don't exist, all went through a magic doorway that didn't exist and met a lion. They exist, but they don't talk, and they're not a metaphor for Jesus, who definitely didn't exist.
I would like to see a chain of events that would lead to Richard Dawkins reading Narnia books to my children. Who's in there with the kids? It's Richard Dawkins. I thought you asked him over it. How does the Republican convention, by the way, how's it comparing to the Democratic convention?
It's a lot quieter.
It is a lot quieter.
Because they've scaled it all down because of the hurricane.
Yes.
There's been a hurricane, it's come, it's called Gustav.
Yes, there has, yeah.
And he just missed, they all got everybody out. The mayor, did anybody see the mayor?
Brilliant speech by the mayor, yeah.
He came out and he just really wanted to make sure that nobody stayed. So he said, this is the mother of all storms. Get your butts out of here. And next to him was a woman doing sign. And he went, get your butts out of here. And she went... She whacked her butt.
Oh, really?
Butt out. He did it. He went butt out, and she went butt out. I didn't even know she actually did signs. She was just improvising.
I love the sadness, Michael. You may have just been on some weird lap dancing channel and you misunderstood it.
They name hurricanes alphabetically, don't they?
They do.
So, they go through. So the next one could be Hurricane Higgins.
What he should have done, McCain, right, instead of cancelling a day of the convention because of the hurricane, he should have timed his speech to take part at the peak of the hurricane. Oh. He should have dressed as Magneto from the X-Men, risen up into the air and go, look at my power, America!
I think it's only in extreme winds that winds should be mentioned, like hurricanes and gales and stuff. Well, I just find it really annoying on the weather forecast when they go, there's going to be a stiff northeasterly breeze. I'm not sailing to work. I don't give a shit. Is that going to change my route to work? It's like, if I walk that way with the tailwind, I'll be there in half the time. It makes no difference.
Yeah. On an apocalyptic note, why do some people fear that the end of the world is going to happen next Wednesday?
Because it might well do. Because they've created a giant black hole machine in Switzerland. A machine that could create a black hole that will end the universe.
Well, that is the greatest bit of timing I've ever seen in my life.
The Large Hadron Collider in CERN in Switzerland starts on Wednesday.
Or to give it its proper name, the Black Hole Machine.
They've taken all necessary precautions.
No, they haven't.
They haven't taken the necessary precaution of not doing it, though, have they?
There's a 1 in 50 million chance that it could create a black hole which will end the universe. Now, I would argue that if there's any chance of that, like if my kid said to me, can I get a train set up in the loft? I would go, OK. If said, could I get a train set that might end the universe? I'd say, what about a bike?
So you'd prefer it if they got the protons and then cycled them round the tunnel on a bicycle?
The thing is, I'm sure they're going to find out some interesting things about protons, but I would add, I don't give a fuck.
I think if
I think they've taken all the necessary safety precautions.
It might create a tiny black hole, right, which is the worst type of black hole, because we'll all get drawn slowly towards Switzerland. And every week this desk will be like 2 feet further over there. And then eventually we'll just look one week and Russell have been replaced by just the jaws of infinity.
What I'm What's that directed at me, Frankie? The jaws of infinity. I thought we were going to see a cow and chocolate and we'd be in Switzerland, but all of a sudden my eyeballs are sucked out of my face. Just for sitting nearest to the audience.
What? You thought
Why
that
am I the first to go?
You're nearest to Switzerland. We tilted it around during the show so that you'd be the one closest to Switzerland.
Well, this is bullshit now.
No one's going to die. It's basically...
He just told me I'm going to die on telly. He looked at me and said I was going to...
My God, I hope you have the cameras rolling when it happens. That'll be incredible. Just him going, "Wah," and clinging on to the desk, right? While we hammer at his fingers. Go! Go proudly! No. Go, Russell! Go, Brett.
You'd be like that. There's more space on scenes we'd like to see.
That's not going to work, though, is it? Because what they're looking for is a thing called the Higgs boson.
Yes.
Is that right? Which is a subatomic particle, which is, you know, lasts for a million trillionth of a second. It's incredibly small. Most of the scientists I've ever met would have trouble finding a clitoris. They're not going to find that.
Well, OK, they don't find the Higgs boson by just rooting around and checking on their desks. I'm sure there's a Higgs boson.
Are you saying that's your method for finding the clitoris? Well, I'll root around, and if it's not there, I'll check the desk.
With that, we offer the points to Frankie, Hugh and Michael! Now we play a round called Danger, Danger, Subatomic Joke Collider. This game involves Michael, Andy, Frankie and Russell, so if you could make your way to the performance area, please. This is where we test our performers' stand-up skills. We spin our news generator, settles on a topic, and anyone can volunteer jokes about the chosen subject. The winners of the team I judge to produce the funniest stuff. OK, here we go. Let's spin the wheel. The first subject is television. Who wants to come in on that? Frankie!
It's so patronising, television, isn't it? I saw a show the other day, and it was like how to sell your house kind of thing. And it said, if someone's coming around to view the house, remember to open your curtains and tidy up. Oh, thanks for that. I'd been planning on redecorating using diarrhoea pills and stencils, then shaving the word welcome into my dog's back. I saw a show for the first time the other day, You Are What You Eat, where a woman gets a trestle table of food in front of a fat person and they have to pretend to feel guilty as she shows them their dream buffet. Oh, this is terrible. Could you give me 5 minutes on my own here? You've got to be careful what you say on telly. I did a cookery show and it was 10 in the morning and it was live and it was the day of the Glasgow airport attack. And the presenter said, oh, you do topical stuff, don't you? And I said, yeah, like today. We don't know if that was terrorists or just Richard Hammond turning up late for check-in. You don't want to have to whisk eggs for 20 minutes while a studio full of people hate you. See, political correctness is all over television. Apparently, on television, we're now not allowed to say fairy lights because it might be homophobic. Apparently now we've got to call them poof lanterns.
Thank you, Frankie. OK, let's spin the wheel again. The subject is modern living. Who wants to come in on that? Andy Parsons.
Now, apparently at the next election, we're all going to be able to vote by text. Now, I can see that going tits up, particularly with predictive text. People voting for New Labrador, Conservatory and the literal demagogues. And I've got to be honest, I am no fan of mobile phones, particularly because you can no longer, can you, call a wrong number. Call a wrong number, don't you? Half an hour later, you get a call back. I believe you just called me. I got a wrong number. No, Sonny Jim, what was it you wanted to say? Well, at that point, I like to go, brilliant. I get to make a dirty phone call, but they've had to bloody pay for it.
That leaves us with Michael and Russell. Let's spin the wheel. Next topic is drugs. Who wants to come in on that? Russell.
Good laugh, mate. I get offered drugs loads. I was at Glastonbury this year, right? And this bloke came up to me. He's like, "Oh, mate, do you want some shrooms?" And you're quite tempted, because everyone's like, "It was amazing, man. Had a chat with the tree. Good guy. He was called Nathan. You'd love him. We could play racquetball Thursday week. What a chap." But you know, if you took mushrooms, you'd be the one who would have the story that would end up on the front page of the papers. Do you know what I mean? I killed a lollipop lady.